Today's lesson is number crunching, the cultural significance of numbers. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike.
My name is Roger, and today we're going to continue to talk about numbers, and we're going beyond their numerical values, which just means 1, 2, 3, 4 in mathematics when we count things that's numerical having to do with numbers. But we're talking about meanings in addition to their numerical values. We talked about the fact that the number 7 is a lucky number in a lot of countries. It's a lucky number in Western cultures because it comes from the Bible. And we have 7 days of the week. And then also in Hinduism, there are 7 chakras in the body. I guess those are points of energy in your body. If you know where they are, then you can maybe achieve nirvana someday. And so these are some meanings of the number 7 or reasons why the number 7 is significant. Of course, other cultures probably like the number 7 too. And we also talked about the number 8, didn't we?
That's right. We talked about the number 8 is especially important in Asian countries where 8 sounds like the word in Chinese for wealth or fortune, leading a lot of people to make strong connections between the number 8 and financial success and also business success. And this leads people to maybe have a license plate with the number 8, try to live or have a phone number that has an 8 in the address or in the phone number, and also even get married on certain dates that include the number 8. And we also learned the Beijing Olympics officially began at 8:08 p.m. on the 8th of August, the 8th month, 2008. I'm glad they couldn't get it down to 88 seconds. That would have been a bit too much organization involved. So now we're going to move on to a few other numbers, probably ones that you're familiar with. We're going to be starting off with some of the luckier ones and ending up with one of the most unlucky numbers, at least in Western cultures. So hold on to that. Throw your calculator away. We're not doing math. We're just talking about the meaning of numbers. So let's start off with the number 6.
Number 6. Also in Chinese culture, the number 6 is often associated with smoothness and good fortune. In contrast, in Christianity, the number 666 is known as the number of the beast and is associated with the devil.
大家好，第一部分介绍片语 in 或是 by contrast， 它的意思是相较之下。例如 In contrast to previous years, the baseball player has been having a terrible season. 相较于前几年，这名棒球选手这个球季的表现一直很差。或者 Most companies have been doing well lately. By contrast, Martin's company is expected to go out of business this year. 大部分的公司最近都表现不错，相较之下 Martin 的公司则预期在今年会歇业。
Okay, let's talk about the number 6 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And also in Chinese culture, in addition to the number 8, the number 6 is often associated with smoothness and good fortune. Now, this is news to me. I had heard that the number 8 is an auspicious number in Chinese culture, but I had not heard that the number 6 was an auspicious number in Chinese culture. So this is a lesson for me, and it's often associated with smoothness and good fortune. Smoothness here, I don't believe refers to how soft the surface of something is, how smooth something is. I think it refers to how well things develop, how well they take place without any problems or hassles.
Sort of effortless and problem-free. So that sounds good. So the number 6 obviously is a good number here in Taiwan. I guess I also remember that the phone code for Taiwan, isn't it 886? That's the country code.
Yeah. Well, there's 3 auspicious numbers right there.
There you go. 2
betcha.
Good fortune and 1 smoothness. I kind of like that. So yes, the number 6 is a good number here. I think also business phone numbers. I've seen a lot of 8686 kind of thing like that. In contrast, so in opposition to that, or sort of as the opposite to that, in Christianity, sort of in the Western culture, the number 666 is known as the number of the beast and is associated with the devil. Yes, this comes to us, of course, from the Christian Bible, from the New Testament. This would be the last book of the New Testament, the book of Revelation, which kind of talks about the end of the world and the second coming of Christ and the devil have this great battle for all the souls of the people on the earth. And I think at some point in there, they kind of say that the devil in human form can be identified by the number 666 on the head. And of course, this leads into a lot of horror films, heavy metal albums, and a lot of people just being nervous about the number 666. We should point out that it's that specific number, 66 or 6 or 6,000. A lot of these don't have the same meaning that 666 will bring up to people. But yes, if you find that you're moving to a new neighborhood and the house that has number 666 on the block, the rental price is much lower, this might explain why, depending on where you live in the world, of course. I take the 667 bus to work around Taipei sometimes, and I'm not too nervous. I guess I'm just the neighbor of the beast instead of the number of the beast.
I think there is actually a 666 bus here in Taipei. I think it goes out to Shiding or something like that.
Okay.
I'm not scared to ride that bus because I think it goes to a Buddhist university in the mountains or something.
It
must be blessed.
What if you were riding it on Friday the 13th?
Ooh, I don't know. That might be a dangerous time to try that. But
go.
In any case, yes, indeed, the number 666 is from the Bible, as you said. But yes, indeed, this is considered the number of the beast who's going to come and fight with Christ when that big battle takes place in the future. And it probably means something to you if you're Christian, and it probably means very little to you if you're not. Okay, let's move on now to the number 4, which sounds like a good number. I think of like the 4-leaf clover, that's kind of like a sign of good luck for Irish people or whatever. But I guess in Chinese culture, the number 4 is something bad. Let's find out about the number 4.
Number 4. Since the pronunciation of 4 is similar to the word for death in many East Asian languages, the number 4 is perceived to be unlucky in several East Asian countries. Consequently, many buildings in these countries don't have a designated 4th floor. Number 13. Just as buildings in some Asian countries don't have a 4th floor, many buildings in Western nations don't have a 13th floor. This fear of 13 is known as triskaidekaphobia, and its cultural origins may be linked to significant religious events such as the Last Supper, where 13 people were present before Jesus' crucifixion.
第二部分看到动词 perceive 表示认为、看作、视为，也可以是注意到的意思。例如 The police perceived the man to be suspicious and detained him. 警察认为那名男子很可疑，并把他拘留起来。或是 Many animals will run away if they perceive a threat. 许多动物如果察觉到威胁，就会逃跑。下一个看到副词 consequently， 它的意思是结果或是因此。例如 Our car broke down on the highway. Consequently, we'll miss the meeting. 我们的车在快速道路上抛锚了，因此我们会错过会议。也可以说 I forgot to set an alarm. Consequently, I was late to work. 我忘了设置闹钟，因此我上班迟到了。另外补充这个字的同义词 therefore, T-H-E-R-E-F-O-R-E, therefore. 举个例子 I didn't pay my bills, therefore the electric company shut off my power. 我没缴账单，因此电力公司把我的电切断了。或是 Your cold is getting worse, therefore you should see a doctor. 你的感冒越来越严重，因此你应该去看医生。再来介绍动词 designate， 表示指定、划定用途，同时也可以是选定、任命或是委派的意思。课文中 designated 为过去分词做形容词用，表示指定的。可以说 The top floor of the restaurant was reserved for designated events. 该餐厅的最高楼层被保留给特定的活动。又或者说 Only a part of the beach has been designated as a tourist area. 这片海滩只有一部分被划为观光区。
All right, we are back, and here we're going to head into our 2 unlucky numbers in our sort of look at the cultural significance of numbers. If you want 6s, 8s, and 7s in your life, these will bring good fortune, good luck, and good things to you. You want to avoid the next 2 numbers. Let's start off with the number 4. I think most people listening to this here in Taiwan will be familiar with the cultural significance of the number 4. It says, since the pronunciation of 4 is similar to the word for death, in many East Asian languages, the number 4 is perceived to be unlucky in several East Asian countries. So there you go. Again, like the number 8, it's connected to the sound of the word rather than any sort of meaning related back to religion or things like that. If you say the number 4 in Mandarin, or I didn't know this actually, in many East Asian languages, so that you could also maybe say the same is true for Vietnamese or for Cantonese or Taiwanese or something. But if you say the number 4, it sounds similar to the word for death. It has the same sort of pronunciation. It sounds the same to your ear. So because of that connection, the sound connection or the rhyme connection, number 4 is perceived to be unlucky in several East Asian countries. This is how people perceive it. When people perceive things, they see things in a certain way, but this could not necessarily be entirely accurate or entirely unemotional. When you perceive things, it might be based on what you think and what you believe, your sort of knowledge or preconceptions or beliefs or things like that. If I was walking down the street and I saw a bright light in the sky, I might say, oh, look, maybe a comet is going by. But if I was a very religious person, I might perceive it in a different way to be, oh, look, at an angel or something like that. So a lot of the things that we perceive or how we perceive them are kind of based on who we are and our experience, our knowledge, our beliefs, our background. So as I said, if you're a visitor from Germany and Taiwan and you get the hotel room number 4, it won't cause you a moment's thought. It won't make you hesitate or anything like that. But if you're an Asian person and you get the same hotel number, you might say, can I change to a number 6 or a number 8 or a number 5 or anything like that, because I perceive that number to be rather unlucky.
That's how they see it. That's how they interpret the number 4. And consequently, or as a result of that, many buildings in these countries don't have a designated 4th floor. Okay, consequently, again, means as a result of something. For example, I did not eat a very good diet. Consequently, I got sick later on, or I did not study for the exam. Consequently, I failed it. And in any case here, we have buildings as a result of this belief that don't have 4th floor. And it's a designated 4th floor, which means it's determined, it's given that number. So, of course, if they build a hospital or a hotel, they'll probably not have a 4th floor. I was kind of surprised about that. One time we stayed in a hotel in Taichung, and they actually had a 4th floor. I was very surprised by that. But I asked them, hey, why do you guys have a 4th floor? I thought hotels aren't supposed to have 4th floors. And they said, well, we don't really know, but it does have a 4th floor. It's not always the case, but for the most part, I think hotels and hospitals don't have a 4th floor.
Yeah, especially hospitals. And I think for the next number that we're going to be looking at, you might find a similar situation in some Western countries, especially in North America. I'm not sure the number 13 has quite the sort of connection to bad luck in European countries, but in North America, especially in America, you might find this. So let's move on to that other unlucky number that most people might know of. Number 13. It says, just as buildings in some Asian countries don't have a 4th floor, many buildings in Western countries don't have a 13th floor. So the 13th floor is unlucky and undesirable as a place to stay or live or rest, I guess, if you're at a hospital, in the same way that the number 4 would be undesirable here. It says this fear of 13 is known as triskaidekaphobia, and its cultural origins may be linked to significant religious events such as the Last Supper, where 13 people were present before Jesus' crucifixion. So it's interesting how a lot of the Asian numbers, both connected with good and bad luck, it's more about the sound of the word and how it sounds like good or bad words in the same language, whereas the Western traditions have this sort of religious link, and this is the same with the number 13. So there's actually a fear of that, a phobia. This is maybe a psychological condition. If staying on the 13th floor or flying in an airplane on the 13th day of the month sends you into absolute terror, makes you kind of sweat from your palms and be frozen in fear on a level that is sort of not manageable, then you could have a phobia, this deep-seated fear, and triskaidekaphobia. So this is a phobia or a fear of the number 13. Triskaidekaphobia, this is the kind of person, as I said, who would never get on a plane that leaves on the 13th day of the month. So the cultural origins of this relate back to the Bible, don't they?
They do. We've got the Last Supper, of course. That's the last dinner Jesus had before he was crucified. And if you see the word crucifixion, it's going to probably most of the time be referring to the Bible and Christianity, the act of Jesus being nailed to the cross as a sacrifice for humanity for all our sins so that we could be saved. And yes, indeed, I can't really think of any other place you'd see this word crucifixion or crucify. It means to be nailed to a cross. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Here comes the third part.
In cultures around the world, numbers possess powerful secondary implications ranging from prosperity to misfortune. Whether you believe in these implications or not, many examples of their influence can be seen in our everyday lives, and these secondary meanings are an integral part of cultural identity.
第三部分看到名词 misfortune， 它的意思是不幸或是厄运。例如 Hank had the misfortune of losing his leg in a car accident. Hank 不幸在一场车祸中失去了他的脚。再举一个例子 Several misfortunes have happened in Gail's life and she needs our help. Gail 的生活中发生许多不幸，她需要我们的协助。最后看到形容词 integral， 它表示不可或缺的，或是构成整体所必须的。可以说 Roy is an integral part of the company because he is a great salesperson. Roy 是公司不可或缺的一员，因为他是个优秀的业务。最后一个例子 Chilies are an integral ingredient in Mexican cuisine. 辣椒是墨西哥料理不可或缺的食材。
Okay, so in cultures around the world, numbers possess powerful secondary implications ranging from prosperity to misfortune. So this paragraph is summing things up for us today. We're talking about different cultures around the world. We did give you some examples about Western countries and China and India. Of course, other countries probably have other ideas about numbers. But numbers possess, or they have, secondary implications, second meanings that go beyond just their numerical values. And we talked about a range of meanings for those numbers. They range from prosperity to misfortune, something good and something bad. Prosperity means getting a lot of money, being very healthy, having a successful life. And misfortune means you're down on your luck, you don't have a lot of money, you're poor, maybe you're homeless, and you're sick all the time. That is misfortune.
Whether you believe in these implications or not, many examples of their influence can be seen in our everyday lives, and these secondary meanings are an integral part of cultural identity. So yes, a lot of this is about perception, how you see things, or whether you believe in these implications, these connections to both good luck and bad. Whether you believe in these connections to good luck or bad, many examples of their influence can be seen in our everyday lives. So we're not saying you have to follow these things, but this will help explain why you won't find a 13th floor here, or why a lot of your friends might want to have the number 8 in their phone number, that kind of thing. It's just good to know these things, especially as we become more world citizens and travel around, knowing about different cultural practices and beliefs. And these secondary meanings, these connections that we're talking about, that numbers have, are an integral part of cultural identity. They're a very important part. They're a central part. Something that is integral is important, it's central, it's necessary, it's a big part of something. So they're a big part of cultural identity. And it also might explain why, picking a certain number for your basketball team may bring you good or bad luck, depending on the number you pick and whether you believe in that number's ability to affect your play as a player.
Absolutely. And of course, there are other numbers we can talk about, the number 3, the number 9, or whatever. Those have different meanings, which you can talk about amongst yourselves. But right now we're going to listen to Hanny before we have our discussion question.
各位 位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分提到 The number 4 is perceived to be unlucky in several East Asian countries. 数字4在好几个东亚国家被认为是不吉利的。那么动词 perceive 在这边是指认为、看作、视为，它也有察觉、注意到等等的意思。我们来学一下它的字首字根。好，看到 CAP 或者是 CEIVE 或是 CEPT 这一类的字根表示拿取、掌握或接受的意思。在 perceive 这个字当中，字首 PER 表示完全贯穿，字根 CEIVE 表示接受。那当我们完全接受、全心全意的接受某事物时，才能够好好的察觉、理解某事物。那这样也许可以联想到 perceive 它有认知、察觉或意识到的意思。好，那顺便补充2个有相同字根的单字。第一个是 deceive， 它的字首 DE 有分离或否定的语义。字根 CEIVE 表示取得。那同学们可以试着联想，以不好的方式、不当的方式取得，那就有欺骗、欺诈的语义。那 deceive 这个动词它就表示欺骗、蒙蔽。第二个补充的是 receive， 它的字首 RE 有往回的意思，那字根 CEIVE 表示拿取。从字面意思来看就是取回，所以 receive 它有接收、收到的意思哦。我们读到课文第3部分第1句，他说，在世界各地的文化中，数字具有强大的次要含义，从繁盛到不幸都有。那文中是用动词 possess 来表达拥有、具有。我们也来学习它的字首字根。当你看到 SESS 或者是 SED 或是 SID 或是 SIDE 这一类字根，就有 sit做或者是就做的意思。那它们带有那种保持在某个状态的含义。在 possess 这个字当中，字首 POS 表示具有掌控力， SESS 表示做。同学们也许就可以用这个作用掌控权去联想到 possess 它有支配、持有、拥有或占有的意思。我们也补充2个有相同字根的单字。第一个是 session， 它的字根 SESS 表示做， ION 是名词字尾。那同学们可以试着想想看，什么场合需要大家坐下来呢？通常就是有开会、集会的时候。那么 session 这个字它就是有会议、会期的意思，也可以指说从事某项活动的一段时间或者是一节。第二个补充的是 obsess， 它的字首 OB 有对抗的意思，字根 SESS 表示做。那我们可以试着联想说，看到心爱的偶像就好像被困坐在那里，你都完全无法抵抗他的魅力，整个人都被迷住了。那所以 obsess 这个动词就有着迷、迷住的意思哦。好，那么以上今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Perceive. Many people perceive the new law to be unfair to small businesses. Consequently, I lost my wallet, and consequently, I don't have money to take a taxi home. Designate.
The committee decided to designate a specific area for the new park.
Possess. Not everyone possesses the patience needed to work in customer service. Misfortune. Leslie had the misfortune of losing her luggage during her trip.
Discussion starter starts now.
Okay, here's our discussion starter for today. The question is, are there any numbers that you consider to be lucky or unlucky? Why or why not?
I would say no, considering that I don't really believe in lucky numbers. I don't believe that any numbers are really lucky or unlucky. I might have picked a lucky number as a kid just to have one, but I can't remember what it was, so clearly it hasn't been either a big benefit or a big hurdle to my life, as far as I know.
Well, I think that a lot of people think the number 3 is a good number because lots of religions have this sort of trinity of gods. Like in Christianity, you've got God and Jesus and the Holy Ghost. That's like a holy trinity. And there's also a trinity of gods in Hinduism. You named a couple earlier, Vishnu and Brahma. What's the other? Shiva. Yeah. Those are the 3 deities in Hinduism.
I see, yeah.
I think 3 can apply to a lot of different areas in life as well. And again, you can discuss your favorite lucky number amongst yourselves. And that brings us to the end of our discussion. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.